Welcome to Networking Arizona with host Carol Blonder. You'll hear interviews with businesses located throughout the valley. Networking, it makes a difference.
If I traded it all.
Welcome to the show, everyone. As you all know, it's Thanksgiving and it's going to be beautiful out there, and it's a great day to be networking. I'm going to go in with my first guest, and he has a song that we're going to be playing for him right now. I have with me Dr. Mark Engleman. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Doctor, you had a reason. You had a reason for playing this song, and I want you to tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do.
So the song can stop now.
It is.
And so the reason that we call it the healthcare revolution is because there is a revolution in healthcare now. The original sort of major thing that happened in terms of the world was the invention of the printing press with Gutenberg, and that all of a sudden opened up information for the masses. The new revolution is the digital age. Now there's a person that could be listening to me in Kenya, in a village in Kenya.
And they are. And
they are. Well, hopefully they are, or they will. So information isn't held by a tight group anymore. So what used to happen in the doctor's office is the doctor would be sitting up here and the patient would be sitting down here, and the patient, they'd say, you have this, or you have this, or the patient would have a symptom, and they'd have to make a doctor's appointment to get in to find out what might be wrong. And then if they said, I have this, or you have this, they wouldn't know even what that was. Now with the internet and so forth, you can basically be just as smart and frequently smarter than your doctor. Now, there are a lot of doctors that don't like that because it changes that relationship. But there's a book that everyone should read that's interested. It's called The Patient Will See You Now. And it's by a gentleman that used to be the head of cardiology at Cleveland Clinic, but now he's at Scripps. And what it basically says is we are now empowered for our own health care. And so when you walk in, you probably have read about your symptoms or your diseases much or more than your doctor. So, and that's a great relationship. I like that relationship.
I agree. I think it's great. I mean, there's a lot of good things about it. It can be bad, but the good thing is that you have a connection with your doctor, which is something that you do special too. We're going to talk about that, which is called concierge medicine.
Right. The average waiting time in the doctor's waiting room is about an hour and 5 minutes.
It's nuts.
The average time of a second visit for a recall visit that you spend with the doctor is 7 minutes. There's something wrong with that system. It's just not working, and people know it's not working. So the concierge medicine is now, do I want to get my own doctor, and will I pay for my own doctor? And will I be able to call them at all hours of the day and night? Will I be able to get in the next day? Will they come and see me at home? And hopefully, are they very bright and smart and compassionate? And because I want my doctor, and I'm willing to pay extra to get that. And the system now just doesn't pay for that. You know, the reason the visits are so short frequently isn't because the doctor wants to make them that way. It's because the insurance won't pay you to sit and chat with somebody. They want you to roll in 30, 40 patients a day. And so people are clamoring and yearning for a personal relationship with their physician. And so it's a big deal. It's a big growing happening in medicine.
But you do offer this.
I do offer that. I was originally practicing integrative internal medicine and just taking people with all sorts of illnesses, and I still do that some, and I probably will always do that some, because I like to take care of the patients frequently that other people have said, I don't know, I can't figure it. I'm sort of the Jewish Dr. House, they call me. And so I like those cases. And I like my older patients, and a lot of doctors, once you get to be a certain age, just basically go, you're getting old, what do you expect? And so I have patients from 30 years old to 100 years old.
That's very nice. Now, I also want to talk a little bit about, because I want to open up the lines to the audience to get this. There was something that we talked about before you came on that you're very excited about, and you just talked about it. You had a seminar that you talked at, I think it was yesterday that you were saying, and it's called Pulse Max. Please tell everybody a little bit about what that is.
Well, I'm very interested in preventive medicine, and I love cardiology and cardiovascular medicine. And so most of these things can be prevented, but they have to be diagnosed before they can be prevented. So the more ability you have to basically look inside somebody's vessel or inside their cell, the better chance you have of figuring out what's going wrong and what to do about it. The days of the let's get your cholesterol level, and if it's a little 1 point too high, now you got to go on a cholesterol medicine, and if it's 1 point below that, you don't, which is ridiculous. But it turns out that 50% of the people that have heart attacks and strokes have normal cholesterol. So 1 out of 2 people, that doesn't even work for them. So what you want to do is there are now great tests that are done. Some are developed by Harvard, some Cleveland Clinic, and so forth, which we do, which are called markers for cardiovascular disease. So when your vessel starts to change, it's like Hansel and Gretel. It sort of leaves little nuggets behind that show up in your blood. And if you're smart enough to know how to get the test, and then you're smart enough to know how to interpret it, you can sort of visualize what's going on in the blood vessel without having to go to the cardiologist and get a catheterization. This test, in particular, that we're talking about, the Pulse Max, is just a little thing you put on the end of your finger. It lasts 3 minutes. It's just like one of those oxygen sensors you do when you go to the doctor. And it measures a number of things which are very important, one of which is what is my balance between my what's called the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight, and my parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and repair. And if you've ever seen the Chinese symbol of yin and yang, which is all over the place, you know that there's a delicate balance, and there are always one's a little higher now and another one, but they have to be in balance. And when they're out of balance, then people are at a high risk for having cardiovascular issues and other chronic disease. So the question I asked the group last night was, if you look at somebody's heartbeat on an electrocardiogram, and somebody said, do you think it's good that every heartbeat is exactly the same distance from the last one and the one coming up next? The answer would be, yeah, my heart rate's nice and regular. But the answer is no. Because what's happened is, if you think about your sympathetic, the fight or flight, it makes your heart go a little faster, and then the parasympathetic slows it down, rest and repair. So there's an ebb and flow to life, and there's an ebb and flow to how our heart works. If it's regular, that means one of those systems, and it's usually the sympathetic system, the stress system, has taken over, and that's a distinct risk for cardiovascular disease. What in this test, it measures what are what is my physical stress load, what is my mental stress load, and what is my capacity to deal with that stress? Here's
what we're going to do. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk further about this. I also want to talk about the 4 Ps of concierge medicine, too. Our line is open here. What we're going to do is we're going to let everybody get entered in to win. This is a 45-minute Pulse Max session. It's a $200 value, free to you. It also gets interpreted by Dr. Engleman himself, correct?
Yeah, the test takes 3 minutes, so it's not like you have to sit still for 45 minutes. You don't. It's not invasive. And then when it's over, we sit down and chat for as long as it takes.
It's a $200 value free to you. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. We want you to check him out on his website. It's Engleman, and it's spelled Engelman, health.com. You can also call them direct. Their number is 602-466-3222. 2226. They're in the Biltmore area, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to open up the lines to the audience for everybody to get entered in to win. Give us a call here, 602-277-5369. We're going to go to a break. We're going to come back, and we're going to talk further with Dr. Engleman. So we're talking with Dr. Mark Engleman, and we have our lines open here. We're talking a little bit about the pulse. We also want to talk, the music is great, but we want to hear about you. We want to also hear a little bit about you. Our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. We're going to go ahead and let you talk a little bit about yourself, because you've got a great background, and let people get entered in to win this Pulse Max session. So go ahead.
So since time goes by so quickly, my background is I was the medical director, trained in internal medicine at St. Joseph's, went and started working in the emergency department there, was named the medical director, and was medical director of the ER at St. Joe's and Barrows Neurological Institute for 23 years. And then started getting very interested in the new medicine, and I got very interested in stem cell medicine. So I found a fellowship, the only one in the world in stem cell medicine. So I traveled around the country and became a fellow in stem cell medicine. There's only 22 of us in the world. And that introduced me to functional medicine and integrative medicine, which is not that people get sick, but why did they get sick? And why were they healthy a year ago and now they're not healthy anymore? What is that? What happened? And so that's what we do now. That's what I'm interested in. You know, how do things work? How do cells work? How do systems work? How do we work as a whole human being, not just a kidney or a liver, but how it's all affected and put it all together. And that's what we do at the Engleman Health Institute. Your
website is Engleman, and it's ENGELMAN health.com. You can check him out while we're on the air here. His phone number is 602-466-3226. And our lines are open here. We're talking a little bit about this Pulse Max session that you just started talking about a little bit. It's a $200 value, free to them. It's a 45-minute session, but it's only 3 minutes to actually do the test. Our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. If you don't think it's for you, you tell them somebody about it, because they might just need it. It sounds to me like almost anyone, and I'm going to say maybe over the age of, let's say, 30, somewhere in there. Is this for anyone, or just is there a certain group?
No, I would say probably over 30, you know, in the 30 to 40 age range. What I didn't talk about before, which is probably even more important, is it measures the stiffness of your artery. So that's really what you want to know about it. Are my arteries getting hard? And they start at about probably 20, 25, 30 years of age, depending on your family background and how you live, what you eat, and so forth. So there's a test right now that will tell you how stiff, it's called arterial stiffness, how stiff are my arteries. And they're not supposed to be stiff. They're supposed to be very pliable. And the beauty of what we do is all of these things are reversible. So the reason people are scared to go get a bunch of tests is they go, well, if I find out about it, it's just going to ruin the rest of my life. And the answer is I wouldn't test it if I couldn't fix it.
Okay, so you also do the reading. I'm going to say, because, you know, and when I say interpreted, but you do this yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
But there's an algorithm, the computerized algorithm. This was done, I think, developed by people at MIT, I believe. So I interpret what that algorithm tells me, and then what that means to the person.
When someone comes in and has this done with you, how long does it take to find out is it algorithm? Did I say it correctly?
It happens immediately.
Okay, so they'll know right away.
Right away.
And so if they are on the road to having hard arteries,
yes.
Okay, what then would be the next step?
The next step is to look for the other markers that see if they have inflammation, that see if they have elevated cholesterol, elevated triglycerides, that their arterial lining, which is very, very important in terms, because it gives off lots of signals if it's happy and a lot of not good ones if it's not happy. What is the shape of that? How happy? It's called the endothelium, and that really is the center of starting to get hardening of the arteries or arteriosclerosis. But everybody thinks it has to do with just your heart or a stroke, but every single little thing in your body is supplied with energy or nutrients by those arteries. So when everybody's worried about Alzheimer's disease and so forth, but I can tell you that, having arteriosclerotic disease where it starts to knock off one nerve at a time in your brain is much more common and much less a dramatic event, but it's nevertheless debilitating.
This sounds like a great way for somebody to take care, to control, I want to say the word control, of their own future, of their body, by knowing in advance where they're going.
Correct. And now, with that test and with genetics and putting in family history and so forth, the predictability of somebody's potential future, that it can be controlled, is unbelievable now.
The number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. This is a $200 value free to you. And we want everybody to get this test. We want you to get entered in to win. It's something that could save your life. Again, 602-277-5369. Concierge medicine. What is that?
Well, in our particular case, concierge medicine is that you pay a fee for the year, and then I'm now your doctor. And so you have my cell phone number. I make house calls if I need to. If you need to come to the office, you come in the next day, or I'll open the keys and open it up myself if I need to. And we do this preventative health so that the goal is that you don't come in every 6 weeks or every month. Because if all those people come in, it'd probably be pretty crowded. So the healthier I can keep you, the better it is. So my goal is not to have you come. The system, the way it works now, is you get paid by the insurance company, the doctor, to see the patient. If they don't see him, they don't get paid. So do they have a huge incentive to get you better? Better. I'm not talking about just the same. No, because you need to come back in a month, come back in 6 weeks, because I get paid that way. Well, that incentive is 180 degrees away from the way it needs to be, because what you want is to get paid for keeping people healthy, not keeping them sick.
Well, I'm getting calls here, so is it okay if I take one?
Sure.
Okay, we're going to let you ask a question. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. And you're getting entered in to win. This is a $200 value free to you. It's a Pulse Max session. John, you're on the line. What's your question?
All right, Dr. Engleman, when I was 50 years old, I started having increased cholesterol levels, and I was put on simvastatin. I've been on that now for about 19 years. I'm 69 years old now. Do you think that's a good way, or maybe I should say, is there a better way to control high cholesterol? Because I've heard some bad things about taking statins.
That's a great question, John. Thank you. First of all, there is now a genetic test that will tell you if you have a good chance of getting the bad side effects of statins, and usually the worst side effect is your muscles ache. Some people get brain fog, but not very many. But if you could get the test ahead of time and even know whether that's going to happen to you or not. And so, do I believe that statins have their place? I absolutely do. Would they do other things besides just lower your cholesterol? They absolutely do. Are there a lot of natural ways to lower somebody's cholesterol? Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. Let me give you the phone number. I'm going to get you connected with him so that you guys can talk a little bit about that. The number for the doctor is 602-466-3226. That website is Engleman. It's ENGELMAN health.com. And our lines are open here, and anyone who called in that wanted to ask a question, if you didn't get on, we're going to let the doc finish talking. If you didn't get on, we're going to get you connected. I'm going to let everybody call throughout the rest of the show to get entered in to win this Pulse Max session. Again, it's a $200 value free to you, 602-277-5369, and toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Doctor, everybody wants to feel better. They want to get better. But concierge, there are 4 Ps. They're P4, whatever you call that. Let's talk about it quickly before you can't get on. You're done today.
Okay, so number one, it's precise. We have great testing, and we can actually look inside your cells and see what's going on and see what's unique to you. Number 2, it's predictive. With the genetics and family history, I now could basically predict what somebody's possible future would be, good or bad, and if it's bad, you can do something about it so it doesn't have to happen. Number 3, it's preventive. Once I know all the things that are going on, we can actually prevent bad things from happening, like Alzheimer's and so forth. And number 4, it's as personalized as it gets. I get to know you as a person, the entire entire who you are, and spend as much time as we need.
The phone number to call them is area code 602-466-3226. The website is Engleman, Engelman, health.com. We're going to let you call throughout the rest of the show for the Pulse Max session. It's a $200 value free to you, 602-277-5369.